Welcome to the San Siro Stadium, the day of decision. Second place Inter, 3 points behind the leaders Sampdoria. For Inter, victory is essential. So will Sampdoria's nerve hold on the verge of their first Italian league title? There's been a ring round this date in the diary for some time. The top two in the Italian First Division, head-to-head. For Inter, it has to be a victory if they're going to retain their hopes of coming out on top. Sampdoria, strong and settled, but they haven't won here since September 1983, when the 2 goals in a 2-1 win were scored by the man sitting alongside me today, Trevor Francis. We'll hear from Trevor after the free kick taken by Mateus. And Vialli steers it back. Trevor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Martin. It's certainly a big day, and I think that we're going to see Inter pressing from the start. It's a game that they have to win, whereas Sampdoria, I'm sure, will be coming here looking for the point, looking to the speed of Lombardo, Mancini and Vialli, and trying to play on the break, with Inter pushing forward at every opportunity.
Well, we know Sampdoria have the skill, they have the talent, the technique, but do they have the nerve? Although they've been successful in cup competitions through the 80s, they've just failed in the finishing straight in the championship races, but they're in pole position at the moment, and few would dispute their right to win the title if it pans out that way. Each side has 3 games left after today, but the mathematics are quite simple. If Sampdoria wins here, they're 5 points clear with 3 games to go. It's almost in the bag. Cerezo with not the best clearance of his long career. Inter play the corner short. Mateus back to Paganini, who gets in the cross. Bianchi helped it on. Clipped forward thoughtfully by Dossena. Also thought in the short ball from Mancini and from Cerezo to Lombardo. Inter have got a lot of players back. Vialli waits for Lombardo to come again. Mancini trying to reach this, and he has done. Zenga's committed. Dossena is there and can't control the shot. A player who's not scored in the league this season. But it was a hopeful moment for Sampdoria, with Zenga starting to go for a ball that Mancini beat him to.
Yes, an uncharacteristic error there from Zenga, and Mancini was quick to get onto the ball. But I think it just shows that due to overnight rain, the pitch is very, very slippery. And defenders have to be careful, because when it is as slippery as this, there's always the chance of making mistakes.
Again, Serena got there, and the second time, it's a great header, Klinsmann! Well, as Jurgen Klinsmann launched himself then, it did look as though Inter were going to grab the first goal. It was an attack in which Aldo Serena twice played a part. This was the second header. And how close did Klinsmann come? Very, very close indeed.
Well, I feel that must go down as a good chance. It was an intelligent header from Serena back across the goal, I feel he spotted Klinsmann at the far post. Pellegrini obviously distracted Klinsmann, but I felt that he took his eye off the ball. If he had not been so concerned with Pellegrini's boot, although it's easy to say that when you're not down the field, I'm sure he would have connected with the header.
Berti, one of the best at arriving late on the scene from midfield in the Italian game. He's well forward at the moment, and he's brought down by a protesting Cerezo, who gets the yellow card. Oh, Vialli having his say. Trevor smiling wryly about Berti's capacity to fall, perhaps.
Well, no wonder Cerezo's annoyed, because quite clearly there Berti has taken a dive, and poor Cerezo's gone into the referee's book, receiving a yellow card. Very unfortunate for him.
Stringara has his back to the goal. Oh, brilliantly saved by Pagliuca. Bremer was the decoy, Matthäus was the man. It's a corner. Paganin doesn't make the most of that. Cerezo, who in the end was happy that his goalkeeper saw it coming and was able to shovel it aside for the corner. But Inter press on again, and the header in from Serena is just too far ahead of Berti once more.
Well, Berti made a good run there through the centre, and sure his disappointment because the header from Serena didn't reach him, but it had to have been one hell of a header to have reached him, because he was certainly asking for a lot for Serena to hit the ball 30 yards.
This was the free kick, hit with all the might of the right foot of Lothar Matthäus, and Pagliuca flung himself across, and we've seen goalkeepers outpowered so often by Matthäus. That has to go down as a very important save. Well, it's quite clear the way Inter are trying to win this match. Sampdoria, for the most part, forced to defend, but doing that tidily enough, but not at the moment, because they've given a lot of room to Paolo Stringara. Berti, and once more Nicola Berti's thespian tendencies go against Inter, and he's almost in tears in his complaints to the referee that he was the injured party here. But the referee has seen all this before, and he's not going to give Berti anything. 10 minutes to go to half-time. And Sampdoria are coping in the San Siro stadium. But here's Bremer. Oh, it's got to Berti! And again Pagliuca going to the left as he had to from the Matthäus free kick. Kept it out. But Sampdoria were vulnerable then. Really, it was a mishit cross from Bremer in the first place.
Well, it certainly wasn't a very good cross from Bremer, but it was a mistake, I believe, by Invernizzi that gave Berti the chance. And once again, Pagliuca was alive to the situation with a good save.
Free kick to Sampdoria, whose target here is now to get to half-time. Still at 0-0. Anything more than that would be a huge bonus. Inter have had the greater share of possession without having long periods of control. Matthäus. Bianchi. Sampdoria drawing all their teamwork and their shape of play that's been so well defined, but it isn't defined now because Klinsmann has broken clear, and there's bedlam here because the linesman had his flag up. The spectators, and I must say the commentator, had eyes for Jurgen Klinsmann and what he was going to do with the chance. He did well enough with it, but it was all irrelevant. And look at this. That's why we were watching Klinsmann. Trevor.
Well, you can see quite clearly that was a terrible decision by the linesman. I would think the most relieved man on the field at this moment would be Vialli, because he lost possession, but quite clearly Pellegrini was playing Klinsmann onside. Clearly 2 yards he was onside. A bad decision by the linesman.
As the ball came through, you really didn't think about offside. Bergami, not much angle on it. Forward by Pari for Sampdoria. And that was high by Bergami, who's going to get booked. Happily for Sampdoria, Vialli's on his feet. That's no thanks to Bergami. A booking for him. Gianluca Vialli back for Italy last Wednesday for the first time since the World Cup. He scored in the 3-1 win. He also missed a penalty. And he nearly was missing a knee after the height of Bergami's challenge. Bergami's ball forward, Klinsmann against Pellegrini, and here comes Berti. Serena's inside him, and Serena looks in frustration, and Berti says he was trying to do it, but he couldn't release it.
When he makes some great surging runs from midfield, Inter look a different team. He is so important to Inter if they're going to win this game.
2 minutes to go to half-time. Inter pressing again. Up goes Serena. Well, that's what he's very good at. What I wouldn't praise him for was his reaction to discredit a teammate a moment or two earlier, just because the pass didn't come. It's a question now of stoppage time. And Mancini can't reach it. There haven't been too many hardships for Zenga. Mateus. Brought out by Dossena this time. Inter have to be careful. Sampdoria haven't been over bashful in the number of players that they've got forward when they have counter-attacked, but those moments have been pretty rare. But Lombardo has played superbly on the far side, and now it's anger because Inter feel that Mancini was trying to win a penalty there by diving. Hot-blooded, hot-tempered. Hard to handle for a referee. And Pietro Delia, has he seen something serious here? It's a red card for Bergami and for Mancini. It was too hot for the referee. It's 10 aside. Well, we wondered whether Mancini would start the game. We now know that he's not going to finish it. And they go off side by side. Trevor Francis, it's an unbelievable scenario here, because there was anger as Mancini went down. Paganini was the defender who made the merest of contact with Mancini, who fell flat on his face, knowing that the cross wasn't going to reach him. Bergame still hasn't reached the dressing rooms. Bedlam.
If the referee's got any sense, he'll blow for half-time, because he's completely lost. Well, he's been hit by an object there, obviously. That's why he's gone down.
And the referee has done just what you suggested. It is half-time. A match that perhaps took an expected course, with Inter driving forward, trying to win it by their own direct means. But it's been a most distasteful ending to the half. First of all, with the sendings off which had happened before this slow motion that you're looking at here, of Bergame being hit in his own stadium, remember. Perhaps they were aiming for Mancini. But it's 0-0 on the scoreline. It's 1-1 in terms of players being sent off. And there's a cooling off period going on now at half-time. Inter 0, Sampdoria 0.
From Gillette comes Sensor, the only razor that can sense and adjust to the individual needs of your face. Sensor blades are mounted on responsive springs to continuously sense and individually adjust to your face. The closest, safest, most comfortable Gillette Sensor, together with the richness of Gillette Gel for the best shave a man can get. Gillette, the best a man can get.
The case, the twist, the crunch, the break, the snack,
So, what did you have to do to get a mortgage? You know, if we were you, we'd think first.
The call had come, and you'd said yes. But you thought, there goes Saturday. And the talking stopped, and the work took over. And roll on Saturday night. Our blogger, the way you want it. Cool and naturally brewed.
Welcome back to the San Siro Stadium. Really one major topic of conversation at half-time, the double sending off, and Mancini turning to Bergame, a head-to-head, but not too much contact, I don't think. Eyeball to eyeball, and I think a lot of people here very surprised that referee Delia reached for the red card. So we've got a 10-a-side game for the second half. Inter 0, Sampdoria 0, and here's Jürgen Klinsmann. Mateus thought once about shooting, and then thought better of it. Well, it's even more of a hardship up front for Vialli now. But he won't mind too much as long as the defenders do their jobs for Sampdoria. The feeling here at half-time, the other talking point, of course, the disallowed goal for Klinsmann, where the linesman flagged, and Klinsmann clearly was onside, but it's possible that Klinsmann might have been penalised for pushing as he set off on that run. Certainly two major talking points through a very tense first half. And Pagliuca, we shouldn't forget the two saves that he made in the first 45 minutes either, and he was right behind it there from Andy Bremer. Bremer. One well by Bertie. Can he go on here? Manini made sure that he couldn't, and there's no doubt that Bertie was fouled that time, and there was no attempt to cheat the referee. It's a booking for Manini. Look at that.
Yes, quite clearly a foul there on Bertie. Encouraging for Inter to see Bertie making these surging runs from midfield, and they've certainly taken up from where they left off in the first half. Inter undoubtedly the best team in the first half. In the opening few minutes in the second half, there's certainly a determined mood to score a goal.
Bremer to Mateus, and the goalkeeper was lucky. It came straight out to Bjerkevod. The danger not over yet.
Offside.
Again, even though you know what's coming, dealing with it is altogether a different matter. It's not the same as we've been stressing for Sampdoria. They'll stay top if they lose, with a one-point advantage, 3 games to go. Bertie. This is Stringara. Down he goes, and Stringara is appalled by the referee's failure to give a penalty then. It was clearly inside the area. The referee was very close to it, and my first impression was that he should have pointed to the spot. Well, his foot that was caught was inside the area. Maybe the ball wasn't, but Stringara and that side of him was. Stringara again. Bertie gets it back. This time, Bianchi. Oh, the goal was there for the taking. The goal that Inter at this stage richly deserved. It was beautifully set up between Serena and Bertie. Out came Pagliuca and did well. You couldn't say the same about Bianchi, although he had to take it very quickly. They're defending so deep, Sampdoria, that players like Stringara, oh, he's wrong-footed here. They have been having the run of midfield, but Vialli, with Cerezo making a good run, and Dossena is there as well! Would you believe it? 15 minutes into the second half. The first shot in anger. Beppe Dossena. His first goal in the league this season, and what a time to get it. What a way to get it. Sampdoria can see the championship here. they've been pinned in their own penalty area. And then within seconds, they're a goal in front. And what a goal! Vialli made all the running. And Beppe Dossena did all the scoring. Bianchi was a turn that for an instant looked as though it might work for Inter. It's produced the corner. Cerezo got his head to it. Stringara beaten to it by Vialli. Everyone prepared to defend for Sampdoria when needs be. Berti. They're winning a lot of headers, Inter, but they're losing the match. And if they do that, in everything but the mathematical sense, they will lose the championship. Vialli has got it through to this pacey player, Lombardo. There's no exaggeration to say that he had the title there. Surely Inter wouldn't have come back to win the match from being 2 goals adrift. And once Lombardo had got free of Bremer's attentions, he looked up, looked to where he wanted to plant the ball, but he couldn't do it. Klinsmann. Oh, and Sampdoria got too many players in there. Berti. Delia. What's he going to make of this? Berti believes he's got a penalty. And I think he has. Sampdoria before that had so many opportunities really to clear their lines, and they got in each other's way. And then Berti picked it up just inside the penalty area. Cerezo stepped across him. Lothar Matthäus has planted the ball on the spot. Drama upon drama. Here comes Matthäus. Oh, and he saved it! And Matthäus, as the ball rolled fractionally free, got to it, but could only get it wide. Well, surely he won't bet against Sampdoria now. The man who didn't take a penalty in the World Cup final stepped up with Inter's season on the line here and drilled it straight at a most capable goalkeeper. The European Footballer of the Year, the captain of the World Cup winners, has shown a human frailty in a high-pressure situation. And on we go with Vialli, but not for long. Ferry saw to that. The notebook is out, the card's out. Fasto Parry in the bottom of your picture there, really scarcely able to believe what's happening. It's a feeling shared by Trevor Francis and myself.
Well, Parry was looking for the referee to send him off with a professional foul, as he was the last man. But I think that would have been a bit harsh, as I felt the penalty was. There were 1 or 2 penalties prior to that, but I think Berti was certainly looking for that penalty, and Cerezo was very unfortunate to be given a penalty against him.
So here comes Pizzi in place of Stringara. We're in the 24th minute of the second half. The second half in which Sampdoria have taken the lead and Inter have wasted several opportunities to score before that, then a golden opportunity to equalise when Matthäus failed from the penalty spot. No one is being shortchanged by this match. Klinsmann. Pizzi, who's naturally left-footed. He really is an attacking midfield player. Bremer takes the free kick. Oh, and Mateus is the loser again. As Bremer whipped it in. Sampdoria, we've seen them strike with venom on the break in other matches away from Genoa than this one, and they needed to play it right then. And now men like Pari and Invernizzi are out of position and need to be covered. And Manini was there. Here's Dossena. Lombardo, it's round the goalkeeper, it's at the post. Vialli still waiting in the middle. Here he is, and it's off the line. In years to come, people will be saying, I was here, I was at that game. So much that will live long in the memory. And this will haunt Lombardo and Vialli if Sampdoria don't win the championship. 15 minutes to go. It stays at 1-0. How? Well, the incident there really needs no additional comment from me. Grown men, hardened football watchers, are scarcely able to turn their eyes to this, and surely it's two this time. It is! The somersault of celebration from Gianluca Vialli. Zenga says it must have been offside. The linesman says no. They're up and running off the Sampdoria bench. How did he stay calm enough in this cacophony here in the stadium? But Vialli did. His 18th goal of the season. Well, not even a full season for him. Firecrackers are coming on, and Klinsmann looking up there and wondering what sort of mentality of people who would throw that at players. It's a free kick against Klinsmann. It's been a magnificent match, but it's not quite going to be reported that way on the terraces, where the pain of defeat has become too much for some Inter supporters to bear. Let's concentrate on the football for the time being. And the security forces here have a major problem in this section of the ground. There are 7 minutes to go. And of course, there have been occasions where crowd behaviour has influenced the verdict on fixtures, and they will say the Milan section of support in the city, the AC Milan section, that Napoli got an unfair advantage in that respect last season, and Paliuka, who's had shots raining in from on the pitch, is now getting pelted from behind the goal, and Mateus trying to bring some sanity to this, and Zenga as well. This is no way to lose.
Just thinking, Martin, that normally a game of this importance, it normally turns out to be an anticlimax, but on this occasion it's been an absolute classic. We've seen some great football, plenty of controversy, missed penalty, a couple of goals, and it's sad that supporters have got to spoil it by these disgraceful antics.
Pizzi, the game goes on. Ferry. One eye on the football, one eye on the fans, if we can call them that. They don't deserve to be called that at the moment. Sampdoria about to make a change. And they're going to bring on Bonetti and take off the player who turned the game their way, Kaseta. And no wonder he goes to that sort of pat of thanks from Lombardo and the embrace from Bonetti. Kaseta's had a long career, but he's had surely not a greater moment than the critical first goal here. Sum it up for us if you can.
Well, what can one say after a performance like this? Inter have played absolutely fantastic, yet here they are, finding themselves on the end of a 2-0 defeat. Full credit to Sampdoria. It suited them really to play on the counter-attack. They've come here for a point, they've come away with 2. And here's the man who's coming off now, Vialli. He's done so much in earning them this victory today.
Marco Lana is on the pitch, but can surely only play a part for a few seconds. The referee Delia, who sent off Bergami and Mancini, who gave Inter a penalty when they were 1-0 down, which Mateus, of all people, missed it. Well, it was saved by Paliuka, who had a fantastic game. Vialli, the scorer of the second goal, the creator of the first for Dossena. We'll have to wait a week or so for it to be confirmed mathematically, but take it from me, Sampdoria are the champions of Italy for the first time, and they've sealed a success in the most difficult of circumstances. Boskov adds another trophy to his catalogue of successes. Zenga this time is a loser, and Inter, although the players did them proud, have been let down by their supporters. A day that certainly lived up to all the pre-publicity, and it's finished Inter 0, Sampdoria 2.
We start our roundup with one issue definitely decided. Bologna are relegated all season. They've had problems with goalkeepers. Pilato embarrassed here by Diego Fuse's free kick for Fiorentina. 11 minutes later, though, Bologna put that behind them. An excellent equaliser swept in by Mariani. A win would have kept alive the slender hopes of the bottom club, and they might just have got it here, but top scorer Turk Yilmaz took a fraction too long. Fiorentina have almost ensured their own survival, just one defeat now in their last 6 games. Orlando's final shot here wildly off target, but the 19-year-old has had a most promising season. Bologna's last effort, a header from Herbert Bass. They reached the quarter-finals of the UEFA Cup, but that will be forgotten now in the sadness of relegation. Cesena are only awaiting confirmation of their sentence to the second division, and more signs in the San Paolo Stadium of the new Napoli, much more together in the Maradona aftermath. They survived Ansaldi's shot for Cesena, and then almost took the lead when Gianfranco Zola, Maradona style, curled a clever free kick onto the bar. And then Napoli won their third match in a row with this goal 5 minutes before half-time. Venturini crossing from the right, and Giovanni Francini beating goalkeeper Fontana to the ball. In the second half, the current Italian international midfield player Massimo Crippa studied a shot against the post. Napoli unbeaten in 5 since Maradona's suspension. A local derby at Bari with both sides in need of victory. Lecce in the more perilous position. Bari with only 1 win in their previous 8 games. They would have taken the lead here. Terracineri's shot, but vigilant Garcia on the line. The Brazilian Gianpaolo next to trouble Lecce. Garcia there again, getting in his goalkeeper's way, but preventing a goal. Into the second half in a tight, tense contest. And Lecce cracked here with Ferri fouling Cookie. But Maialaro made an utter mess of the penalty for Bari. Pietro Paloviris came much closer with this Lecce free kick before a stormy sequence. Bari's Brambati sent off for a second bookable offence. But Lecce quickly down to 10 men themselves when Garcia collected a red card. 6 minutes from time, a goal for Bari. Soda the scorer. But like the sendings off, that was quickly cancelled out. A brilliant strike from Pasculi, a point apiece, but it's not looking good for Lecce. Nor for Pisa, who started the season in a short burst of glory. Some progressive play from Pisa against Lazio. Simeone with plenty of space, a fine cross, Padovano's header, wrong-footing the goalkeeper, but landing the wrong side of the post. Pisa pressing again with Simeone in the thick of it once more. And after 7 games without a win, Lazio was short of confidence. Ruben Sosa changed that. The goalkeeper and the bar stopped the Uruguayan scoring here. But then his party piece free kick put Lazio back to winning ways. Sosa hit the bar again. There could be quite a squabble at the set pieces if he plays in the same side as Paul Gascoigne next season. But Pisa probably won't be in the same division. The great escape is still coming from Cagliari. Still not totally secure, but showing again in Genoa their vast improvement. Cornacchia first to a deflected free kick and catching out goalkeeper Braglia after just 7 minutes. Cornacchia is a defender, and he was soon back in position. His deflection stopping what looked a certain equaliser from Thomas Scouravi. Cagliari's goalkeeper, Yelpo, is certainly playing his part, keeping out this cross shot from Carlos Aguilera, and then refusing to be bamboozled by Branco's Brazilian free kicks. Yelpo had no chance with this Genoa goal. Torrente on target spectacularly, and it's 1-1. 5 minutes later, though, Genoa forgot to mark Francescoli, and Cagliari's character showing through again as they regained the lead. Genoa are chasing UEFA Cup qualification, and they peg back Cagliari a second time. Scouravi's 13th goal of the season. But Cagliari have lost only 2 of their last 14. Like Genoa, the priority for Parma and Torino is European qualification. It led to the second goalless meeting between the two sides this season. Ozio with the early Parma opportunity. The home side making the running, Gambaro, their energetic left-back, troubling Torino, and the shot coming in from Quaggi. Gambaro catching the eye again in the second half, an enterprising run with Ozio's assistance. He tried so hard to turn the game Parma's way. Torino tested Taffarel just once, Policano's free kick. Exactly who plays in next season's UEFA Cup from Italy will still take some sorting out. Roma have reached this season's final, 2 legs against Inter coming up, and perhaps on their minds when they allowed Atalanta to take the lead in the Olympic Stadium, Catelli scoring after 42 minutes. Roma came out much stronger in the second half. without Rudi Voller, but Rizzitelli took on the number 9 shirt with pride, forcing an own goal from Bonacina. Then right on time, Naylor's shot fumbled by Ferron, and Rizzitelli on hand, 2-1 to Roma. Next stop for them, that UEFA final first leg in San Siro. A few months ago, Juventus against Milan looked a possible championship decider. Overshadowed now by Sampdoria's success, Milan still won well in Turin. Juventus so out of sorts at the end of the season, Marco Simone tucking away a Van Basten cross after just 3 minutes. And then Paolo Maldini climbed superbly to make it 2-0 to Milan, and it stayed that way into the second half. Alessio on now for Hessler, and the substitute struck the frame of the Milan goal. Plenty of incident in the match. Van Basten stretching Stefano Tacconi here. And then a couple of shies at the Milan goal from Salvatore Schillaci. But still nothing is coming off for him. Almost 6 months now since he last scored in the league. How Schillaci must have envied Alberigo Evani, who rounded off this stylish Milan move with a quite superb left-footed volley to make it 3-0 12 minutes from the end. There could have been even more humiliation for Juventus from Frank Rijkaard. Certainly not Juventus's day. Alessio a whisker away again. A 5th straight season without winning the championship, just not up to those great Juventus traditions. Well, let's look first of all at the bottom of the table to confirm that Bologna are the first of 4 clubs to go down. Cesena are virtually doomed, and there's not much hope for Pisa. Cagliari are still holding off Lecce. Barring a sensational Sampdoria slump, the title is theirs. They're 4 points ahead of Milan, who move above Inter, just 3 games to go. There's a gap opening up at the top of the scorers charts as well, and keep watching Network 2 as we'll be bringing you the Italian Goals of the Year competition immediately after this programme, and a chance to win a weekend for 2 in Rome at the end of May to see Sampdoria's last league match against Lazio in the Olympic Stadium. And you can see the goals again next Saturday on Sports Stadium. But we leave you tonight with the contrasting experiences of those 2 leading scorers in the Italian First Division. Lothar Matthäus wasted that penalty for Inter at such a crucial stage. Inter already a goal down, made by Vialli, a most timely first of the season for Beppe Dossena. And then came Gianluca Vialli's 18th goal in 23 games. He served Sampdoria so loyally when other lucrative offers have come his way, and now he's so close to the ultimate reward.
RTE Sport, in association with Hart Lager, gives you the opportunity to win a weekend for 2 in Rome at the end of May. All you have to do is choose the Italian Goals of the Year. Goal A, scored by Alessandro Bianchi for Inter Milan against Bologna.
Brenner's in behind them now. And Serena launched himself. This is Bianchi! Oh, yes! Struck it perfectly. It dipped. No chance for Cousin. Absolutely no chance at all.
Goal B, scored by Roberto Mancini for Sampdoria against Napoli.
Here's Lombardo. Off on one last run for Sampdoria. It's Mancini! That's an outrageous goal! Volley that he had no right to attempt, let alone to accomplish.
Goal C, scored by Carlo Ancelotti for AC Milan against Juventus.
Massaro trying to propel the ball into the heart of the Juventus penalty area. And that's Ancelotti! Wow! Top class, top corner.
Goal D, scored by Alessandro Melli for Parma against AC Milan.
Trying to stop Milan taking an early grip on this game. Osio. And it runs off Ancelotti. A goal for Parma. Magnificently taken by Melli. A flash of inspiration, a blur as it sped past Pasagli.
Goal E, scored by Roberto Baggio for Juventus against Parma.
But it's the left side of Juventus doing the trick with Baggio here. Is it number 4? Yes, it is! And there really seemed to be only one outcome. Once he'd slipped away from Grun, Taffarel hadn't come out much to narrow the angle.
Goal F, scored by Ruud Gullit for AC Milan against Napoli.
Good play by Donadoni. Ancelotti, who's got a long range in his passing, and Gullit is clear. The finish is perfect. Napoli have been punished for another mistake, and you can't let the ball run on as happened there when players of this calibre are around.
Goal G, scored by Frank Rijkaard for AC Milan against Napoli.
Still 2-0 to Milan here. This might change. Rijkaard, 3-0.
He knows what he's doing when he goes to block this ball, look. And of course, great finish. Great finish.
Get in.
Goal H, scored by Lothar Matthäus for Inter Milan against Juventus.
Free kick taken by Matthäus. They've lined him up. Oh, he's found the bottom corner with an efficiency that you can't credit, really. He does it too often to ever call a fluke.
And here's a check on those goals again. Goal A.
Victory over worms and fluke begins with Balbazon. Balbazon, the big value wormer for cattle and sheep. For the power that's in it, insist on Balbazon, the big value worm beater. A simple fact. Listerine helps kill the germs that can cause bad breath and the bacteria that can cause plaque. Clinical tests prove Listerine with regular use after brushing reduces plaque buildup significantly more than brushing alone. For better oral hygiene, use Listerine. It fights the germs that can cause bad breath and plaque. And that's a fact.
Employers, don't waste any more time. If you haven't returned your P35, do it today or face the penalties.
I'm Mary Mulcahy of Irish Heart Foundation. Contact me if you can organise a skipping event in your school, club, office or factory. Win great prizes and help us save lives.
I'm coming through, got wings on my wheels, coming through. You know how it feels when all you wanna do is drive a car that makes you glad just being alive. Coming through, just me and my Ford. Coming through, you're coming aboard.
Probably.
Introducing Active Balance from Revlon, a unique formula perfectly balanced for beautifully clean and deep conditioned hair in one easy application. New Active Balance by Revlon.
I just love it.
It's the colour. I like the colour. It's
The little oranges.
Tanora.
Wicked. Those little, tiny little things.
Not mandarin, satsumas.
Tangerines. Tangerines. That's it.
Here it goes.
Yummy.
That's pretty cool.
It's busy.
Brewed in Cork. Frothy.
Just what I need for today. Wonderful.
Good evening. Separate bilateral talks between Northern Secretary Peter Brooke and Unionist and SDLP representatives have been taking place at Stormont today. Earlier today, the DUP leader Ian Paisley called on Mr Brooke to withdraw his ultimatum of last week so that inter-party talks could begin on the basis, as he put it, of last Wednesday's Downing Street meeting. And when he left Stormont after the talks this evening, Mr Paisley said he would be returning tomorrow for more discussions. Earlier today, the Taoiseach said he believed the problems holding up the start of the talks were surmountable. Mr Haughey is visiting the United States and he was speaking in South Bend in Indiana. Ryanair has confirmed that the threatened industrial action by the IALPA, the Irish Airline Pilots Association, has been lifted. In a statement this evening, the company said that following a series of meetings throughout the weekend and during the course of today, the company had received information from the majority of its pilots that they would accept the agreements which were concluded between the company and the pilots. The Communications Workers Union, which represents most of the 8,000 employees at An Post, has said today's talks with management were not an indication in any way that they accepted the viability plan for the company's future. The President of the High Court has ordered the immediate release of a Chinese student and a Ghanaian from Mountjoy Jail. Both men claimed to be refugees, and the judge said the two men were in unlawful custody. We'll have these stories and more on Network News at 11:10. Join us then.
Hello there and good evening. The weather is going to stay very mild over the next few days, but fairly humid too. So tomorrow, for example, like today, it'll be cloudy over much of the west and north. In fact, some rain turning up in those areas too. As our current weather map shows, there is a rain belt away out to the west. That's moving northeastwards, but it's likely to brush close to the north and northwest coast of Ireland tomorrow, despite the fact that we will have a fairly intense area of high pressure just off the south coast. But with the pressure so high, that rain should be fairly small. Now at the moment, as far as the rest of this evening and tonight is concerned, the odd little patch of light rain or drizzle, but generally a lot of dry weather overnight and very mild weather too. In fact, temperatures won't fall below about 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. It'll be breezy, especially in the northern half of the country, where around the coast the winds will reach force 5 or possibly force 6. Weather-wise tonight, as I said, a few patches of light drizzle, but a good deal of dry weather. Fairly misty too, with some fog turning up over hills and on the Connacht, Munster and western Ulster coasts. Now that's how things are going to begin tomorrow. In fact, you may find the rain getting a bit more persistent in some parts of the north and northwest, although over the rest of the country it'll be fairly dry, with some bright spells developing in the east and southeast. Indeed, during the afternoon, that rain in the north and northwest will tend to fizzle out, leaving just a few patches of light drizzle near the coast. A very mild day again tomorrow, temperatures generally 15 to 17 degrees, but in any sunshine in the east and south, they could reach 18, 19 or even 20. Good evening.
We have an hour of action from the world's greatest league to look forward to now with Italian football.
Welcome to Genoa as the challenge for the 1991 Italian First Division Championship is very close to conclusion. A win for Sampdoria today will clinch the title,
And with that in mind, the fans here have brought a huge collection of flags to the stadium, the like of which I've never seen before. But today's opposition, Lecce, are desperate not to lose to try and stay in the First Division. Sampdoria still without one half of their profitable attacking partnership, Roberto Mancini. He's still suspended following his red card away to Inter 2 weeks ago. Last week at Torino, Mancini's replacement was the Yugoslav Streko Katanec. He stays in the side today, and Marco Branca also comes in to give Sampdoria an extra attacking edge. Lecce are coming to the end of their first season under the former Juventus and Poland stars Divi Boniek. Defensively, they've been quite strong with characters such as Perry and Amodio. But their problems are in attack. Pedro Pasculi, the Argentine striker, has been with the club since 1985, but he receives scant support, and his best ally, Pietro Paolo Viris, is missing today, injured. Well, the scene is certainly set here. The Luigi Ferrari Stadium, jam-packed with Sampdoria fans who believe they're less than 2 hours away from the greatest party in the club's history. But Lecce have a pressing need for points themselves to try and stay in the First Division. And they defend the goal to the right in the first half. Zanico is the Lecce goalkeeper. And they haven't done too badly defensively this season, but they have the weakest attacking record in the Italian First Division. And a very poor away record too. Not just this season, but in all their limited experience in the top flight in Italy. Here's Vialli. Well, good afternoon to Andy Gray. Will Sampdoria, will the players, do you think, even be able to concentrate on the job in hand here? They're celebrating already around us, all the supporters with their huge flags and wonderful, colourful paraphernalia.
Well, certainly the supporters have decided that today's the day of celebration for Sampdoria. I'm sure the players would love it to be today as well. I'm sure they'd love to win it at home. They finally confirmed their first league championship victory here, rather than away next week. So they'll be very determined to get a victory. And it's going to be a long, hot day for Lecce, because Sampdoria are playing with such great confidence at the moment that Lecce are going to find it difficult to stem that.
It's a fine cross towards Vialli from Lombardo. That's Cerezo with the shot! What a start! Inside 2 minutes. And the party has begun.
Well, I said it was going to be a long, hot, hard day for Lecce, but I thought they might put up a little bit more resistance than this. But this is a super strike from Cerezo. Really gives Zanico no chance at all. And now, as you're quite right, the party really has begun for Sampdoria.
Kaseta. Here's Lombardo. The 33rd game of the Italian First Division season. Marco Branca in the side, wearing number 10, Mancini's shirt. And it's sad for Sampdoria that Mancini is still suspended and can't play a part. But he really has done his job, particularly in the early weeks of the season when Vialli was still injured. 5 minutes gone. Cerezo, who scored the goal. Oh, and it's off the bar, and very nearly number 2, Katanec and Vialli both going in there.
And Zanico not getting much cover.
Well, when Sampdoria are playing like this, Martin, with this confidence, they really are a difficult side to hold. And Lecce cannot be feeling very confident at the moment.
Dosena's cross, the goalkeeper in difficulties again. Well, Lecce will be looking to these three foreigners now. Mazinho, the Brazilian in midfield, along with Alenikov from the Soviet Union, although Alenikov isn't 100% fit. They've had to take a chance with him. And the third import, the loyal Pedro Pablo Pasculi, the Argentinian, who's in his 6th season here now. But Lecce are being thrust aside. It's only their 4th season in the First Division, and over the span of the 4 seasons, they've won 3 of 65 away games. Here's Pasculi. Moriero trying to get through the middle. Pasculi goes on again, and he's certainly kept his head up, I must say, after the blow of Lecce losing that goal, and has done his best to try and get Lecce quickly back into the game. Moriero with the corner. Pagliuca, look at that. There's a goalkeeper absolutely rippling with confidence.
It's no surprise, is it, after the performances of recent weeks, that he's quite confident to come that far out his goal. That's just like plucking apples for him, wasn't it?
Vialli was coming towards the near post. Cerezo was right in there as well. Branco's been a loyal squad man this season and has come off the bench on a number of games to good effect, but he's had enough of that, and he is talking of transfers now. And he'll be leaving here if he does, with a championship winning souvenir. Dosena takes the corner. Zanico saw it a little late. Phenomenal goal! Perfect for the party. And on this day of all days, the gamble paid off. Moreno Manini, who, like a number of players here, has been a regular for a long time, and collectively they've worked together and at times suffered together to get their success. Pasculi still busy up front, and all credit to him for that. Against Vierkovod as well. Mazinho was trying to lend a hand there for him. Pellegrini. Sampdoria relaxed, even in their defending, maybe a bit too relaxed. There's a little rap across the knuckles for them. Lombardo. Oh, that's beautifully done. He's left 2 in his wake. Conte and Carinante. But the flag was up for offside.
I think it actually may have been a free kick given against Vialli there for just taking one of the defenders out the play.
Here's Vialli, who was so close over the last 2 or 3 years to accepting offers from other Italian clubs. Catanets. Party. Vialli spending quite a lot of time at the moment on the right-hand side. Well, it really is featherweights against heavyweights here. Lecce still trying to land some sort of punch, and a good try from Benedetti.
They're still working very, very hard, Lecce, and really making it difficult, but they're having difficulty stemming the tide. Benedetti just giving them a little reminder that they are still in the game.
Oh, the crowd responding to Vialli's ball artistry, and Conte didn't take too kindly to what he thought was maybe bordering on the verge of Mickey taking.
I think you've probably called it exactly right. I think if you're on the end of something like this and a team are playing with this confidence and you see someone who you think may be taking the mickey, you get some players that are not going to stand for it. And certainly Antonio Conte wasn't having any of it there.
The elder of two brothers in the Lecce 16 today, his younger brother Gianluca, who has his 19th birthday tomorrow, is on the Lecce bench. Vialli not severely discomforted by that foul. Dossena takes a deep free kick, well claimed by Zunico. Conte letting Mazinho take over. Lecce had a late reprieve last season. They finished in the end 1 point and 1 place off relegation, and they were always amongst the teams favoured to fall this season.
I think they settle for that position this season quite happily.
Well, if they are going to survive, they've got to beat Inter next Sunday and hope that the other results go their way.
Yes, can you imagine him looking at the fixtures a couple of weeks ago and thinking, well, we've got Sampdoria away and Inter, and we've got to win both those games to have a chance of staying up.
One hope that they might have against Inter, who played a second leg of the UEFA Cup final before then, next Wednesday. If Inter have a good time after that, here's Lombardo trying to improve even further Sampdoria's spirits here. Oh, and it's wrapped away by the player of the year, perhaps, in Italy, Gianluca Vialli. It is 3-0, and Lecce's gloom deepens.
Well, they're all over the place, Lecce here trying to defend, but look at that lovely little guided header from Lombardo. Lecce nowhere. Vialli spins, not a proper volley, but what a magnificent strike. It's fitting that that man should be scoring today and joining this wonderful occasion.
His 19th of a very special season, even by his high standards. Again, Julio Lanese right on the spot to rule against Cerezo. Benedetti still finding causes for complaint. Oh, Pagliuca, lucky that Lecce hadn't committed any more players into the penalty area. That was amazing. The ball bounced over the goalkeeper. He was distracted by the challenge at the near post. There's a foul by Benedetti, who's been close to getting himself into serious trouble and is now booked by a referee who's losing patience with the Lecce captain.
Yeah, total frustration from Benedetti there, but what an amazing scene there. I think we've talked about Pagliuca's magnificent saves throughout the last few weeks, but what he's also enjoyed when a goalkeeper in top form is huge slices of luck when he's needed them.
Now, wait a minute, what's happened here? Conte is sent off for passing a comment at the referee that he took exception to. Conte already booked, and Tilio Lanese immediately produced the red card, and Lecce's problems increased to almost an unbearable level. They are now down to 10 men. Conte off. And so Lecce are even deeper into the mire. And Pasculi's protest there on Conte's behalf in vain. Tullio Lanese sticking to the letter of the law, as he's quite entitled to. And Conte, who was the player who committed that very injudicious challenge on Vialli earlier in the half, has been culpable again. And now you do wonder just how many Sampdoria are going to score.
Referees are very tough in Italy, aren't they, when anyone leaves a foot in late. And Conte just seemed to have lost his head from the moment that tackle on Vialli, and he's been running about trying to get players, and really no surprise that the referees had to take that action.
Brought out by Amodio. And how do you cope as a Lecce player here? The defence has already been seen to be opened up at will, really, by Sampdoria. And what hope is there for a team that's only managed 20 goals in coming up for 32 and a half matches? And Antonio Conte, the 21-year-old, has learnt a harsh lesson here.
They're only 6 of those goals away from home. So you wonder how they can possibly salvage anything. The only thing they can salvage would be a bit of professional pride. But that may not be good enough to keep them in this top league in Italy.
Mikhailichenko with a fair hair, close to the camera there, on the bench for the 11th game in a row, which says a lot for Sampdoria.
I can relate to that. In the championship winning season of 85 at Everton, I actually spent 11 matches in a row on the bench as well, and ended up with a championship medal. He'll still feel he's contributed, and I'm sure he'll be made to feel he's contributed by the other players and the manager.
The difference is that Mikhailichenko is sitting there keeping his thoughts to himself. Here comes Manini. Lombardo. Oh, and Zanico beaten to it at the near post by Cerezo. A fraction away from number 4. This is just the type of game for an elder statesman.
Certainly, and look at Cerezo, buoyed with the confidence of that early goal. Makes a perfect run into the near post. Lombardo delivers another telling cross, one of the many that he has put in there all season, and Cerezo getting forward. They almost do it in tandem, Cerezo and Catanets. You take a chance this time, I'll go next time. Really is marvellous to watch.
This will be their 18th match in an unbeaten run.
There are very few games in any league season when a team can come out and play in the frame of mind that Sampdoria must be in at this particular moment in time. The early goals just totally relaxed them. They can now actually enjoy the game. Usually it's only after it that you can sit down and say, oh, that was marvellous, and realise how enjoyable it was. But now they'll absolutely be enjoying every minute of this.
Good work by Zanico to keep it at 3. Viercovod surging forward, and Lecce weren't able to stop him in full cry. And Vialli quite anxious for the game to be restarted. He doesn't want Sampdoria to go off the boil. And if he's going to get 20 goals, he's got a better chance of doing it today than away to Lazio next Sunday. Oh, well. Viercovod, for a fraction of a second there, looked as though he was going to have a free header into an unguarded net, as Zanico rather unwisely came flying off his line. It's another corner. We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Here comes Zanico again. This is Viercovod. He can have a crack. Pushed out towards Vialli. The angle's against him. It was Catanets trying to lean in, and the whistle has gone. Well, it always was going to be a gala day in Genoa. And Lecce will be cursing the administrators who set out the fixture list, who decided that they had to come here on this penultimate Sunday of the 1990-91 Italian First Division season. Mazzino.
And that's an example, that little piece there, when they're 3-0 up, cruising to victory. The ball's in midfield and they've got 2 and 3 players round it hustling, even now, and that's been a sample of what they've been doing all season.
Headed forward by Gatanet. To the right of Vialli, Cerezo and Branca. Here comes Lombardo. And he took it not on the chest as he would have liked, but using an arm. It's half-time here. A glorious first half for Sampdoria. The gulf between the two sides so apparent from the moment that Tonino Cerezo, at the age of 36, struck the goal that sent Sampdoria ever nearer to the championship. That was in the second minute, and it was followed by one of the goals of the season from the number 2 Manini, just going down the tunnel now. Vialli's got in on the act as well. Conte sent off, so Lecce labouring with 10 men. And at half-time here, it's Sampdoria 3, Lecce 0.
Take a heart, you break a heart, you leave a heart that's true. You're undecided. What are you gonna do? You're undecided. Now, baby, it's up to you.
What could be lighter than 4 pots of delicious new Fromage Frais Light? 4 empty pots of new Fromage Frais Light from your plate. Moro, biscuit, caramel, and delicious Cadbury's Dairy Milk Chocolate. Cadbury's Moro. What more could you ask for?
The call had come, and you'd said yes. But you thought, there goes Saturday. And the talking stopped, and the work took over. And roll on Saturday night. Hard lager, the way you want it. Cool and naturally brewed.
Welcome back to Genoa, where 60-year-old Bouyadin Boskov has scampered across from the dressing rooms on the far side to take his seat on the Sampdoria dugout like a spring chicken. He's brought on a substitute in passing as well in Venezia, the number 15, whereas Zibi Boniek, who's 25 years younger, has trudged across the pitch with the whole weight of the world on his shoulders. Such a contrast in attitudes as well as age. Here's Benedetti for Lecce, who are 3 goals down. And they too have made a change, bringing on Panero, wearing number 13. This is Lombardo. It's a terrific run from him. And not only Panero on, but Morello as well for Lecce, who have to reorganise here quickly as Sampdoria want to pick up the rhythm that brought them such success in the first half. And Boskov, this citizen of Europe really, a coach who's been all over the continent plying his trade. Lombardo, and Vanessa makes the run outside. Lombardo going for the return pass, and Lecce looking to avoid the responsibility of dealing with the danger then. Several players left the ball to another. Not only Vialli, but Mancini, who has also got himself back in the picture as well, who, unlike Vialli, hasn't really been troubled by injury this season, and has been mesmerising the opposition with some superb attacking play for Sampdoria, but has still had to try and wipe away the impression that he's given over the last 2 or 3 years, that he might be one of those players who are fabulous for their clubs, but just can't reproduce that form for the country.
I think inconsistency was a lot of his problem as well, wasn't it, Martin? And people weren't quite sure if he could do it for the whole season. But I think he's proved this year, I think along with Vialli, and I think he's responded to Gianluca Vialli, who, as we've seen throughout the weeks, is not just content to score goals, but will work very, very hard defensively for his team, and I think Mancini's responded to that.
Giacomo Ferri responding to the treatment. The header from Benedetti, Cerezo, brilliant change there. Lombardo nearly took the goalkeeper by surprise, but it swerved back in towards Zanico. I thought it was going wide to his left, and he saved it nearer on his right-hand side. But Cerezo, as the ball dropped, the Lecce ranks to a man, we're expecting a shot.
Well, we all thought, here's another volley on its way towards goal, didn't we? But what great vision from Cerezo, vast experience, just getting a reverse pass to Lombardo. And we could all see what Lombardo was trying to do, bend it in the far corner, and he very nearly took the keeper by surprise.
Down goes Branca. The 26-year-old who can look back at winning goals he scored away to Cesena and here against Fiorentina that produced extra points that now have helped to make Sampdoria so safe. They're 25 minutes away from wiping away any of the doubts which, going into this match, were basically only mathematical. It would have been a sensation if Lecce had won here. The sort of result that just doesn't happen in the Italian game. So Vialli, after Branca had taken the last one, Vialli, is he going to make this one his? Oh, great save! The goalkeeper who was moving out to deal with it. I'm sure that would have swerved in. And it's a punch from the overworked Zanico the second time. 3 goals have gone past him, but absolutely no blame attached to him.
Certainly not. That was a fine save. He did gamble though, Martin. He did actually move out to that side before Vialli had actually struck the ball, and it would have been interesting. It would have been in no man's land had Gianluca Vialli decided just to dink one over the wall into the other corner. But he gambled and he got lucky with it.
Pasculi's still trying to get a goal to his name, and who can blame him? What an unselfish job it must be playing up front for Lecce. And this, as I said earlier, is his 6th season in the job. He can't get it past the wall again. But what it has done, of course, it's made him a rich man. So we shouldn't have too much sympathy for him. Pellegrini still concentrating for Sampdoria. And Mikhailichenko has had the signal to get completely ready. They're going to give him 20 minutes. And Cerezo is coming off. He's certainly made his mark on Sampdoria's special occasion. And he's milking the applause.
Yeah, go on, enjoy it. Great to see.
It's always been a credit to the game. And he's kept going when less athletic characters in their 30s have had to give it up. And those who, of course, have suffered severely with injury. I have to say that with Andy Gray, who is younger than Cerezo, and his boots firmly put away, sitting alongside me. And he's a fan now. It's Bonetti giving him another cap. Well, it is all about the occasion now rather than the football match. And I hope watching at home you're able to appreciate that. Sampdoria still seeking goals. Branca almost on cue. You do feel, though, at times the players are in danger of being distracted by what is going on around them.
Yes, it's only natural that should happen, but what also will be there, the ones that haven't scored, like Lombardo and Branca today already, will be desperately wanting to get their name in the score sheet. And one of those rare headers that we talk about in Italian football, almost there. It was a fine header down in towards the bottom corner, just slightly misdirected.
That's supposed to be a back pass. It's the sort of back pass that you can try and manufacture in this position. 3-0 up, the championship in the palm of your hand, 15 minutes to go. Pari. Branca. No one at the far post.
Getting a little bit of keep ball now from Sampdoria, isn't it, Martin? They're just quite happy to knock it about. But we mustn't forget that for the first half hour, they were right on the boil. They approached the game perfectly. Exactly the right attitude. Went straight at Lecce and put them under pressure. And that's what won them the game so comfortably. So I think we can allow them this 10-15 minutes to stroke it about and relax.
Panero. Lecce grateful that that is happening. They've been able to cope with 10 men, ironically better than they did with 11, but of course the circumstances were different. Those 3 goals were already scored against the 11. Benedetti. Pasculi almost getting in his way. Pasculi saying, I still want the ball. Picked on though by Panero. Moriero, it's a good try. He thought that the goalkeeper was starting to come off his line and he might have been able to float it in. And Sampdoria would certainly have wanted to go into their last game. Away to Lazio is by no means an easy match at any time. They wouldn't have wanted the championship resting on that. And it isn't going to do so.
Yes, it's winning. There's nothing like winning it in your own backyard, as they say.
Dossena. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Mazinho for Lecce. Still Dossena and Mikhailichenko do the midfield work. Amodio, Caronante, look at them on the far side, bursting to get on. They won't have long to wait. Well, if you want a shot to sum it all up, there it is. It needs only the final blast on the referee's whistle now. And then there will be bedlam here.
Well, it's been noisy enough for the first 90 minutes. I dread to think what the blowing of the final whistle is going to do.
It's been very comfortable for Sampdoria in this match. It was always likely to be so if Lecce lost an early goal. It could have been more demanding if that hadn't happened against a team who hope to come here and scrap and keep Sampdoria at arm's length and maybe pinch a point. But I reckon without Toninho Cerezo, who smacked in the first goal inside 2 minutes. Look at this. It's a little training game here. Lecce are leaving them to it. Andy, quickly, the essence of Sampdoria this season?
Pure and simply, an abundance of ability and a marvellous team setup. I think you need both in this country if you're going to succeed and win the league. You can't win it by purely skill alone, or you can't win it by hard grafting alone. But if you can combine the two, if you're very lucky to combine the two, you'll go very close. I think Sampdoria have combined both magnificently this year.
So we're into stoppage time. Ferry's free kick. Lombardo still having defensive duties in his mind. Moriero couldn't see a way for a shot that time. Well, the scene is set if there's time for it for Sampdoria to sweep forward one more time and really put the final punctuation mark on their day. Pari perhaps has that in his mind. Invernizzi, who came here from Como, where he was part of a struggling setup, and has seen the sweeter side of life. Lombardo, like Vialli, attracted from Cremonese. Here goes Lombardo. And Zanico really deserved his luck then. It bounced off him, but not far enough for Mikhailichenko to collect the goal. Mikhailichenko, of course, who was loaded with trophies from his days with Dynamo Kiev. And everyone here, I think including Andy Gray and myself, is waiting for the final whistle, and here it is. Sampdoria's greatest day is complete. They are champions of Italy for the first time. The goals here from Cerezo, from Manini and from Vialli in the manner of champions. And Boskov takes it all in his stride. Never before have they finished higher than fourth. And they have acquired in recent seasons something of a reputation as a nearly club. Good enough to win cups, but rather blowing up in the finishing straight of races for the league title. But they've stayed the course this time. Andy Gray, you've celebrated a championship.
Well, not quite in this fashion, I'm sure, but championships are championships, wherever you are, Mark. They mean as much to you. As a player, it doesn't sink in immediately. It really doesn't, because it's been the culmination, as you said, of 33 matches. It hasn't been a one-off in the way a cup final is. And it'll only be later that it really does sink through to them of what they've achieved, because it really is an immense achievement for a club of Sampdoria's past stature, I should say, not now, to go and achieve what they've achieved this season.
Well, we salute Sampdoria. It's been a privilege to have followed them throughout the season. And they've sewn it up in style, beating Lecce by 3-0. Sampdoria the champions.
Milan were the only team with a mathematical chance of catching Sampdoria. They were away to Bari, just above the relegation zone. But Gianpaolo, not the first player to beat Milan's famed offside trap this season. Milan a goal down after just 4 minutes. Frank Rijkaard trying to repair the damage for a team which lacked Gullit and Donadoni. Alberga saved well here from Marco Simone. Marco van Basten following up unsuccessfully. Bari's turn to threaten, Soda and Gianpaolo to the fore. Franco Baresi next to find Alberga in outstanding form. This mistake by Paolo Maldini almost put Milan into deeper trouble. Only an excellent defensive header from Filippo Galli saved the situation. 9 minutes into the second half now, Simone's speculative shot found its target to bring Milan level. But 11 minutes later, the defence lost track of Gianpaolo again. The Brazilian's 12th goal of the season, and it made sure Bari stayed in the first division. Milan still not sure of second place. Fiorentina needed a draw at home to Torino to retain their first division status. The season in Florence affected by post-Baggio blues. Marco Nappi's shot here, and Fiorentina did create the better positions. Luboš Kubik, the Czechoslovakian, wasted his own splendid work here with a selfish strike from a difficult angle. Kubik did come up with a fine free kick in the second half. Torino are well placed for European qualification for next season. Bresciani with one of their few attempts on goal. 1 point each suited both sides. Bologna already down. Cagliari still not sure of survival despite a spirited second half of the season. Their goalkeeper Ielpo alive to Mariani here. But Cagliari showing none of the inhibitions which spoiled their early matches. Bologna's goalkeeper Pilato soon in the firing line, and he was out well at the feet of Fonseca. But he was beaten by him here, the Uruguayan's free kick giving Cagliari a 33rd minute lead. Cagliari through Capioli trying to build on that in the second half, and Fonseca really has found his scoring touch in recent weeks. 2 for Fonseca, 2-0 to Cagliari. No relaxation for them though, Pericano deflecting Mariani's shot, 2-1, still 11 minutes left. But Cagliari hung on to celebrate their first division security. 7 games unbeaten, only 2 defeats in 16 matches. A marvellous turnaround for a club that looked doomed at the turn of the year. But Pisa not so fortunate, straight back to the second division, and on the receiving end of Salvatore Schillaci's first league goal for 6 months. Shades of the World Cup at last. Juventus also back belatedly in better form. Alessio might have made it 2-0. Roberto Baggio did with a brilliant free kick. Any Pisa chances of recovery were ruined when Bosco dragged down Schillaci, the red card a formality. And no one dared touch Baggio here. His 14th goal of the season, 3-0, 10 minutes after half-time. Pisa, to their credit, kept at it. Neri first to Dolcetti's deflected shot, 3-1. But more vintage Baggio now, and Alessio's header equal to the cross. A superb pass by Boccafresca sent Simeone through for Pisa's second goal, but they'll be playing second division football next season. Juventus 4, Pisa 2. Cesena's relegation was confirmed last week, and Parma able to put on a show in their final home match of their excellent first season at this level. Minotti, a target for rival clubs, just wide here. And then Quoggy narrowly past the same post. But after 16 minutes, Parma deservedly taking the lead. Thomas Brolin doing the preparatory work, and a sharp finish from Marco Ozio. Parma's chances plentiful in the second half. Sorche at number 7 instead of the injured Melli. The second goal very much on the cards, and 2 of the Parma foreigners involved. Georges Grun from Belgium picking out Brolin, the Swedish striker. Only Brolin's 6th goal, but he has been crucial to Parma's success. Very hard-working, a good team player as well. And look at Brolin's beautiful back heel in this attack. To Ozio, a fine save, a comprehensive 2-0 win. Genoa's supporters at Bergamo coming to terms with news from home of Sampdoria's success, but their team on target for a UEFA Cup place. Atalanta's Peroni with a powerful shot which troubled Braglia. Ruotolo rather than Aguilera or Scuravi produced the most dangerous Genoa attempts at goal. Ruotolo again here, stopped by Ferron. Atalanta on the attack in the second half. De Patri coming in on Nicolini's free kick, and Braglia almost beaten. The Genoa goalkeeper coped well here from De Patri again. Atalanta 0, Genoa 0. Roma hoping against Napoli to sharpen up for their UEFA Cup final second leg against Inter, 2 goals down. But the sort of quick thinking they'll need, Carboni from Giannini's instant free kick caught Napoli out after 15 minutes. Napoli equalised 10 minutes from time through Rizzari and extended that unbeaten run since Maradona's suspension to 7 matches. That was threatened by Rudi Foller here, but Foller off target, and by Desideri. Great work though by Giovanni Galli in the Napoli goal. One other relevant statistic, red cards for 2 international defenders, Italy's Ciro Ferrara of Napoli and Roma's Thomas Berthold of Germany. Inter, the other half of that UEFA Cup final pairing, were also at home to Lazio. Jurgen Klinsmann gave a typically cavalier performance in Inter's attack. Nicola Berti from the right, and Klinsmann unlucky at the near post. Lothar Matthäus losing ground in trying to catch Gianluca Vialli in the race to be top scorer. But it was Klinsmann again, the danger to Lazio here. Fiori, the goalkeeper, just reaching the ball with his fingertips. Inter in control, but not yet into the lead. Matthäus missing out once more. In the end, it needed considerable initiative and improvisation. Sergio Battistini scoring while sitting on the ground. 1-0 to Inter after 57 minutes. Lazio needing to come forward more now. Sold out just wide. But it was 2-0 with 7 minutes left, and this was a delightful goal made by Matthäus and driven in by Klinsmann. Really marvellous appreciation by Matthäus. Just a nudge to the side, and Klinsmann had kept on running. Lazio came alive too late, and even then Walter Zenga was ready for them. A 2-0 defeat, plus the news from Wembley of injury to Paul Gascoigne, made it a very bad day all round for Lazio. In fact, Lazio drop into the lower half of the table. There will be no relegation drama on the last day of the season. The 4 casualties are confirmed, Lecce and Pisa joining Cesena and Bologna in the second division next season. The top of the table makes splendid reading for Sampdoria. 5 points clear of Milan, then come Inter, followed by the jockeying for those positions, which will mean representation in next season's UEFA Cup. Sampdoria, worthy champions. They began to show signs of what was to come as early as October. Away here to Milan in the San Siro Stadium, it was a result that took them to the top of the table, a victory sealed by a rare goal for the Brazilian Toninho Cerezo. And their title credentials were again soon tested, away to reigning champions Napoli. Going into the second half, Sampdoria held a fragile 2-1 lead.
Mikhailichenko. It's Vialli! It's Mancini! That's an outrageous goal!
Sampdoria were making the rest of the league sit up and take notice. But this fantastic goal from Brazilian Franco meant defeat in the local derby against Genoa. So victory in their next home game against closest rivals Inter was essential to prevent a familiar slide.
This is Vialli going on, no flag, and he scored! Some menacing cross in, Serena, Berti! Off the post, and Berti makes no mistake the second time. Lombardo's in the clear, Vialli arriving, oh, handled, surely, by Paganini. Here's Vialli. 2-1. Now Vierkovot storming forward. Mancini! That's clinched it now!
A terrific win and Sampdoria back on top. They did have some luck along the way, Mancini's goal here against Parma coming in the very last minute. But they say you make your own luck, and the performances of Sampdoria's two leading lights, Gianluca Vialli and Roberto Mancini, have been consistently magnificent. Vital goals, though, have come from other areas of the field.
And surely a chance, and it's there, Vierkovot has scored!
A vital win, but Sampdoria would have to be at their best, as the next challenge was against Inter, who needed victory to stay in the hunt for the championship.
But Vialli, with Cerezo making a good run, and Dossena is there as well! Klinsmann. Oh, and Sampdoria got too many players in there. Berti believes he's got a penalty. And I think he has. Here comes Mateus. Oh, and he saved it! Grown men, hardened football watchers, are scarcely able to turn their eyes to this. And surely it's two this time. It is! The somersault of celebration from Gianluca Vialli.
And now against Lecce, in the words of coach Vujadin Boskov, his side played dream football. We've never played better, he said. Moreno Manini's goal summing up a superb season for Sampdoria. For Boskov, the perfect way to celebrate his 60th birthday earlier this month. In Genoa, he's become a god, and the party in this northwestern seaport will be going on all summer long.
Welcome to the Luigi Ferrari Stadium in Genoa, a city which has been elevated to such prominence by the events of this Italian First Division season. The home, of course, of the champion Sampdoria and fourth place Genoa, who today stand on the brink of qualifying for next season's UEFA Cup. A draw will do the trick, but today's opposition Juventus may have to win here to hold on to their customary European spot, which they've kept over the past 27 seasons. Genoa have been so well served by their three foreigners. The Brazilian Franco only arrived in the autumn from Porto in Portugal, and his fearsome power at free kicks has been a feature of Genoa's play. And the two imported attackers have 29 goals between them, 15 for the Uruguayan Carlos Aguilera, 14 for Thomas Skuravi of Czechoslovakia. A very successful combination for the coach Osvaldo Bagnoli.
Juventus make one alteration from the team which beat Pisa last Sunday. Gianluca Lupi is restored to their defence at the expense of a forward, Pierluigi Casiraghi. It has been such a trying season for these players. They've not been able to live up to expectations, and they must do what's necessary today to stay in Europe, or the consequences could be drastic. Gigi Maifredi has already paid the full price for relative failure. This is his final match as coach. So Genoa kick off, defending the goal to the right in the first half. And what a city for football this is now in Genoa. Sampdoria, the champions, and Genoa not too far behind in terms of the quality of their play as well. The captain for Genoa is Signorini, who's the sweeper. And Genoa do have the boost of having won in Turin against Juventus earlier this season by 1-0, one of the 14 scored by Scuravi this season. And Trevor Francis, good afternoon to you. What sort of match do you expect? Let's just see this free kick, because Branco is lining it up, and he's one of the real hot shots at set pieces, not just in the Italian league, but around the entire football world. The Brazilian Claudio Branco, who came here in November from Porto for his second spell in the Italian First Division. But Branco leaves it, and Bortolazzi, I'm not quite sure what was in his mind there. Ruotolo with the cross, and that was Aguilera taking it away from Scuravi. Trevor, good afternoon to you, and your impressions perhaps of what sort of game we might get.
Well, I realise that Genoa only need 1 point to qualify for the UEFA Cup, but I think that just looking at the size of this crowd and the fantastic atmosphere that we have here, it's very, very similar to last week when Sampdoria played on this pitch against Lecce. I feel that they owe it to their supporters to go out and try and get the 2 points. And as you can see, they've already made a very, very good start. And I think they'll be trying to put a lot of pressure on Juventus from the start. Whilst in Genoa there's been nothing but praise for Bagnoli, only 2 hours up the road in Turin there's been nothing but criticism for Maifredi. And the main criticism of Maifredi is the fact that he's been too adventurous. In players like Casiraghi, Schillaci, Hessler and Baggio, he's had too many players who like to push forward into attacking areas. And as you see today, he's had to leave Casiraghi out to try and balance the team a little bit more. Perhaps he should have been thinking of that a little bit earlier in the season.
Casiraghi, whose present problem is that he's serving in the military as well as playing. Met by Julio Cesar. Onorati. Corner then to Genoa, coming up to 8 minutes gone. Unbeaten at home this season, 9 wins, 7 draws. To be taken by Bortolazzi. And Scuravi gets to it. Well, he certainly made his mark on the World Cup and really got his move to Italy from his success almost a year ago now with Czechoslovakia. He's hard to handle in the air.
He certainly is, and having scored already 14 goals this season in Italy, it's quite a remarkable start to his career. for Genoa, and it just shows that you don't have to be paying £5 and £6 million for players, because I believe Genoa paid just £1.25 million for his services. So if there's such a thing as a bargain, I think this must go down as one.
Kessler. And here's Baggio. Genoa indeed have a fourth foreigner on their books, the Soviet Union player of 1990, Igor Dobrovolsky, but they've had to loan him out to Spanish football. They've signed him on a 5-year contract.
Yes, and halfway through this season there was a lot of speculation on whether he'd be starting with Genoa at the start of the following season. But such has been the form of Aguilera, there's no way that they can possibly change those two up front.
Ruotolo. Aguilera, it's nicely played by Genoa. Very calmly dealt with by Taccone, who had that near post covered and realised that the shot was veering outside it.
Yes, you just caught a glimpse there of Scuravi. Very, very angry with Ruotolo, his teammate, because having played the good 1-2, in that situation, he should have hit the ball across the goal. In fact, he tried to hit it into the near post, and it came to nothing.
Scuravi, who has a good touch too for a big man. Aguilera wears the number 9. Ruotolo is number 7 if you're watching Genoa for the first time. Juventus, the better known of the two teams. Hessler. And Agostini unable to collect that. The stadium in the Marassi district of the city, often known by that name, rather like San Siro, or what is officially the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium in Milan. And Maifredi, well, not too much more can befall him really, except that Juventus could fail to qualify for Europe. That would be a real stigma for him to have to live down. Maifredi, who did such a good job at Bologna, but like Dino Zoff before him, finding it's difficult to get Juventus on the championship winning lines. It's a corner to Genoa. Of course, when Baggio was signed, that seemed to be the signal for the Juventus supporters to believe that they would get it right this year. Slight indication that he might have damaged a hamstring there, Baggio. Number 5 is Nicola Caricola, a name with a poetic sound to it. More significantly, he's a former Juventus player. 16 minutes gone, and maybe an opportunity here for Juventus to edge their way towards next season's UEFA Cup. Hessler is there, and Julio Cesar has paced out the run. Almost bounced away at Baggio. Marocchi. Now Hessler. The temperatures here certainly reflecting the onset of summer.
Baggio certainly seems to be in all sorts of trouble there, and don't be surprised if he doesn't take any further part in this game. I've got the feeling there, well, there you see that the sub is ready to come on. This could be the end of Baggio's season.
This is Ruotolo. Now Eranio. Scuravi. And Onorati was moving to his left to try and get where Scuravi wanted to lay the ball off to. Baggio is waiting to come off, which is sad for Juventus, of course. It's sad for all of us. It's always a pleasure to be it a game where Baggio is playing. Ortolazzi got the tackle in on Schillaci in the first place. Well, the sorrowful Roberto Baggio. But the ball's still in play. Scuravi with his bulldozing style, and they'll be quite happy to get the free kick here because of the man who's holding the ball, Claudio Branco.
Yes, I feel the referee was calm there because Scuravi, having knocked the ball away, realised that he'd overplayed it, lost possession and took a dive.
Baggio has to give way to the injury, and Paolo Di Canio is the replacement. And his arrival, the prelude perhaps to one of these famed Brazilian benders from Branco. He refused the opportunity to take the first free kick in the game. If he doesn't take this one, we'll wonder whether he's carrying an injury. This is very much in his slot. There it goes! Fantastic! Genoa 1, Juventus 0. Genoa, the club that have been so well served by their foreign acquisitions. Most of the goals have come from Aguilera and from Scuravi, but Branco has played his part as well. He had to wait while the substitute came on, but my word, it was well worth waiting for.
Absolutely magnificent. There's no one in the world that hits a free kick as well as Branco. The moment it left his foot, Taccone was always in trouble. The ball swerving away from him, dipping. When Branco hits him like that, it's difficult for any keeper in the world to save.
Plenty of time here for De Agostini. Well, it's not a bad try with Di Canio. And Juventus need to spark something off soon.
Yes, good bit of sustained pressure there from Juventus. Excellent bit of play from Hessler. Did what he's good at, dribbling out the defender, getting to the byline, put a good, dangerous cross across the face of Braglia's goal. Unfortunately, there was no one there to get on the end of it. A good play from Hessler.
Genoa only returned to the First Division at the start of last season after 5 years, really out of the spotlight in the second. Marocchi. Back to him from Schillaci. Hessler. Genoa retreating and conceding midfield for the moment. Has given them one or two problems. De Agostini. Alessio. De Agostini again with Marocchi in close attendance. De Agostini wanting a return pass. Genoa quite happy for Juventus to knock the ball about in this area of the pitch. Marocchi. Ortolazzi getting in the way. But Juventus have the throw. Aranio, who is now an Italian international. Taccone reflecting that there are some situations that, however hard you train, you just can't deal with, and he's just experienced one, the blast from Branco. De Agostini's little cross, and the header from Alessio. In keeping with his recent run in front of goal, not known as a prolific scorer, often used in wide positions, and he hasn't had many regular spells in the Juventus side this season. The type of character who's got value coming from the bench.
This is a good deep run from Alessio, and he attacked the ball well, somewhat reminiscent of David Platt yesterday when he got into the box with that header against Argentina. Unfortunately, Alessio's header really lacked the power to trouble Braglia and the Genoa goal. But it's those type of runs in midfield that I feel are going to cause the Genoa defence one or two problems, because they seem to be isolating Schillaci, and the support he needs must come from the centre of that midfield.
Di Canio on for Baggio, if you've just joined us. Coming up to the half-an-hour mark. Genoa leading by a goal to nil. D'Agostini trying to match Branco and very nearly doing it. It was a Branco-type try with the left foot. Good stop by Braglia. And Juventus, I must say, have responded positively since going behind. Schillaci to take the corner. But Braglia plotted the path of it well enough.
Yes, a good effort from D'Agostini, giving Braglia one or two problems. A number of times we see on a Sunday afternoon the standard of shooting from outside the box seems to be better here in Italy than anywhere else in the world.
I haven't spotted him yet, but we understand that Zico's in the stadium over here for a testimonial match. In fact, the farewell match for Cabrini. He spent so much of his career with Juventus, of course, but has finished it with Bologna. He retires after today. And Zico with a couple of Brazilians on view, and he'll be delighted to have seen Branco's goal.
Yes, what a left-back he was, Cabrini. Definitely the best left-back I've ever played against.
Monorati, it's deflected, very nearly past Tacconi by Aguilera. Sharp reactions from two players, really. Aguilera to divert it in the first place, and Tacconi to keep it out. Back to Alessio. There'll be no excuse for Juventus showing full motivation today, but it's Genoa grafting forward here. Well, it was fiercely hit by Scouravi with an attempt, I'm sure, to get the ball across the face of the goal.
Yes, I think so. I can't believe that he was really trying to beat Tacconi at the near post. You see, Aguilera was a little bit annoyed with him because he wanted the ball driven across the box, hard and low. And I think that's what he was trying to do.
Here's Cateraghi, a likely candidate to be involved in the second half. Marocchi, wanting players to make forward runs. And Schillaci will always do that. Well, it's the last minute of the first half, and it's a free kick for Juventus in a position which would suit them if Branco was playing for them, and if Baggio was still on the pitch. Who's going to take on the mantle? It would be very much, one would think, Baggio's free kick. We saw Julio Cesar have one crack from long range earlier in the half. Marocchi joining the wall. It's Hessler. It's not a bad try. Plenty of pace on it. He got the dip, but it was too late. We move now into time added on at the end of the first half by referee Lucci. The first half that's going to plan for Genoa. It's not the half-time whistle. There's been one or two lengthy delays for injuries. But I think they're telling Signorini from the bench that effectively the half is over. And pushing by Scouravi. Not going to get too many decisions in that area himself. Jumping with Julio Cesar. He really can look back on the first season in Italy with tremendous pride. Kessler. It's not been quite so easy for him. Marocchi. Give out by Caricola. Casiraghi still limbering up on the touchline. The substitute already on, Di Canio. Back with Gallia. Juventus are going to equalise before half-time. They haven't got very long. De Agostini has had their best crack at goal with his left foot, and he tries with the right. And there's going to be time, is there, for the corner to be taken. Schillaci looked like a moving ball. Gallia. Genoa again, satisfied really with getting numbers behind the ball. Hessler tries to thread it through them. Good running by Di Canio, didn't quite come off for him. It is half-time in Genoa, and we've seen Genoa's 50th league goal of the season, and what a way to mark that event. What a goal. It came after 20 minutes from the Brazilian Branco with the sort of free kick that he's famed for, and if you're fortunate enough to see one, as we have done today, it lives long in the memory. Juventus have played pretty well since then, but they have lost Baggio. They're having a lot of the ball in midfield. They may well have Casiraghi on for the second half. At half-time here, it's Genoa 1, Juventus 0.
Sun comes up, the day begins, and it won't be long till we're drinking it in. Drinking in the sun, sun-kissed is the one. Drinking in the sun, sun-kissed is the one. Drinking in the sun.
It's time for a new kind of magic.
Greetings, Highlander. Fred, what took you so long?
Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, Highlander 2, The Quickening.
When you're weighing up the cost of changing your old model for something, well, slightly bigger, it's a good idea to save first, especially when you do it with your friends. And when you join your local credit union, you're certainly among them. Because each credit union is run by local people for local people. So whenever you need a little extra for a car, a holiday, home improvements, or some financial assistance, talk to your local credit union. And with over 1 million members, that makes for a lot of friends. Talk to your local credit union.
The call had come, and you'd said yes. But you thought, there goes Saturday. And the talking stopped, and the work took over. And roll on Saturday night. Hard lager, the way you want it. Cool and naturally brewed.
The Juventus players listening as the half-time scores are announced at the start of the second half. It's other matches which might decide their fate in terms of European qualification. Napoli are doing well. They're leading against Bologna. Parma and Torino involved in drawn games so far. But a real feature of the half-time here, the feeling of celebration amongst the Genoa supporters, which Trevor Francis was Sampdoria style. But here's Scuravi. Is it going to be more celebration? Is he going to score? Thomas Scuravi. Inside 40 seconds at the start of the second half. And Juventus, well, maybe they were concentrating on those half-time scores too much. It's 2-0 to Genoa, and it goes from bad to worse for Manfredi's men. Strong to hold off Lumpie and thread the shot beyond Taccone.
Well, it was awful defending from Juventus. To be caught cold like that in the first minute of the second half. It's so disappointing for the manager, Manfredi. Scuravi took it well, used his body to hold off Lumpie, who didn't really resist in a way that you'd expect from a player battling to stay, well, not to stay, but to try and get his team in the UEFA Cup. He was shrugged off the ball rather too easily for my liking, and Scuravi finished in good style.
There was some suspicion that with Genoa only needing a point to be sure of their place in the UEFA Cup, and a point probably being enough for Juventus, but by no means a certainty that we would see a rather stale, stereotype drawn game. But it hasn't turned out that way at all. Genoa trying to complete a double over Juventus here. They would only match Milan in that respect, who have got 2 wins against such famous opposition this season. And here they are, 2 goals to the good, and Scuravi takes his tally to 15, and the Scuravi-Aguilera duo reaches 30.
Well, there are many in this ground who felt at half-time that Manfredi would make the substitution of Rion Casaraghi. It didn't happen. You can bet your life that within a couple of minutes, Casaraghi will see some action. 2-0 down, Juventus now in a desperate position.
Here's Alessio. De Agostini, touched off by Schillaci. Hessler not allowed to set the sights. Here come Genoa again. Foul by Marocchi. Quickly taken free kick, not exactly from the right place. The referee tolerant in that respect. Beaten away from Branco by Taccone. He got forward again. He really is, in truth, a player all along the left-hand side, not literally a left-back. And he was way up, almost as a left winger then, firing away.
This was a modest bit of football from Genoa. Took the quick free kick, a great diagonal ball across field to Branco. He didn't waste any time in testing Taccone. Once again, hitting the target. It was a good save from Taccone.
It's Branco with the corner. Trevor, you know this part of the world so well. We were talking, here comes Casaraghi now. You called it spot on yet again. And it goes the number 7 in Hessler's direction. Here's Di Canio. It's a cross that really didn't bring enough players into the penalty area for Juventus in their plight here. It's no good sitting back and just holding the shape in midfield. Somebody's got to catch Juventus by surprise, capture Genoa by surprise, but it's Juventus being caught out here by Ruotolo's run. Calia gets back, and it's wide in the end from Aguilera. Might be the moment that he'll regret if he has to share being Genoa's leading scorer this season with Scuravi. They're level on 15 goals apiece now. Quickly taken free kick by Alessio, and are Juventus going to get through here? Gallia now. Cross for Casiraghi to fight for. Simone Braglia, in his second season with Genoa, has been part of the successful mix here. He didn't take his eye off the loop ball in from Salvatore Schillaci. Oh, and Aguilera! Is it going to be a goal? Well, Aguilera should have taken the chance the first time. He was taken by surprise that the ball got to him. And then he eased it out of the goalkeeper's hands, and it stays at 2-0.
And Aguilera can't believe it because he really expected Lupi to head that ball clear. Lupi completely missed it. And once again, the first touch let him down.
Schillaci. Now Marocchi, and you can see how well Genoa work as a unit. They pummel back, and although Juventus get the ball in these areas, to find a way through has proved impossible for them.
Yes, whilst we're in that hotel over in Italy and mingling with the Genoa players, one player who did create quite a good impression with me was Scuravi, because he only just joined the club, but there he was, mingling with the players, joining in the card schools, having a decent conversation in Italian with some of the other players. And that was terrific, I felt, for a player that had just come from Czechoslovakia. He certainly made up his mind that, going to Italy, he was going to get involved straight away. And I think that, as I've said many times, when you do speak the language, it makes life so much more easier.
Well, England's David Platt perhaps preempting his future. He's taking Italian lessons. He's still contracted to Aston Villa. But that's the sort of approach that gives you a better than even chance of making full use of your ability, if that ability attracts the Italian scouts. Free kick to Juventus to be taken by De Agostini. And Genoa taking nothing for granted in the closing stages here. They've pulled everyone back. De Agostini. Canio to the right of Alessio. Marocchi is one of them. He doesn't want to shoot from long range. De Agostini, and in the end, really two players attracted to the same ball, Alessio and Di Canio, I think it was, when Juventus did seem to have a man to spare. And Genoa, who haven't looked too vulnerable throughout the length of this game, were in danger of conceding a real chance and possibly the first goal for Juventus. Throw by Branco, who really set the pattern for this Genoa performance with that astonishing free kick. Lupi. Oh, and Scuravi trying to be a little casual, finding himself in a defensive position. But he was helped out by Torrente. And Scuravi looking to be the playmaker at the moment. That was beautifully done by Branco. Onorati. Branco flattened off the ball. Genoa still in possession, so the referee allowing the game to go on. Scuravi still in a midfield position. Di Canio hasn't given it up yet. With the freshness of a young player, really. Perhaps not quite as tainted by cynical thoughts as one or two of the older hands.
Yes, the referee didn't do him too many favours there, because Torrente clearly fouling him, but Di Canio got away, and the referee should have employed the advantage rule.
Napoli. Julio Cesar. Here comes De Agostini. That's curving back all the time towards that far post. It's almost as if he personally is trying to rise to Branco's challenge. You just saw Osvaldo Bagnoli was nearest the camera on the Genoa bench, who's really been a marvellous influence in his first season in charge of this club. Here he is.
He's 55 years old now. He had 9 years with Verona, including, as Trevor pointed out earlier, taking a most unfashionable club to the very championship itself. Aguilera hoping to pounce on any mistake by Lumpie.
Well, I would think that was a sign of tiredness there from Scurabi, because that was a pretty poor ball. He was looking for his teammate and striking colleague Aguilera, but it was well under hit. And no problem for Juventus defence to clear up.
Away by this solid central defender, Signorini. Catania. That looked an unfair handoff by Eranio. But still Juventus looking like a side which really doesn't believe that it's going to score. But there is some promise in this position. Time is against them. They'll go off to find out whether other results have gone against them. The glory today is undoubtedly Genoa's. But if Juventus could get a goal here, there might be an anxious minute or two to endure for the home supporters. Brought out by Branco. Not too many players full of running at this stage of this game, at this stage of this season. And you can't run when you're fouled like that.
Surely that must be a booking.
Gallia comes back to Genoa and gets a yellow card, the former Sampdoria player, former teammate of Trevor's.
Well, that was a touch of frustration there from Roberto, because there was no attempt to play the ball. And I would think that it's a welcome rest too for that man on the floor, Branco. I think he'll stay down there for a couple of minutes, have a nice little drink. It won't be too long then before the referee blows the whistle.
Branco really does prove the point that as a foreigner it does matter which club you go to, because as I said earlier, he went to Brescia. It was always going to be a struggle playing in that side. And eventually he left Italy to go and play most successfully for Porto in Portugal. But he's come back and really made a mark for a club that has also left its imprint on the season.
Yes, he played for Brescia, a team that was just down the road from Atalanta. And I think he left Italy at the same time as I did. My last year wasn't a particularly good year with Atalanta. And as you say, quite rightly so, he was with a rather poor team in Brescia. And certainly with a better team now in Genoa.
Cross from De Agostini. Di Canio, who perhaps deserves a goal, if anyone's going to get one for Juventus. Oh, and that could have deflected up and in. And Genoa, look at the attitude of Signorini there. Even if the ball had gone in, it really wouldn't have spoilt the party here. But he's so grudging and so professional that he was angry with his colleagues for allowing that attack to carry such menace.
Yes, that ball rebounded off the head of Gallia, and I think that if it had gone in, he'd have been quick to have claimed it.
Well, last week it was Sampdoria celebrating here. We're a few seconds away from a gala day for the Genoa club. Marocchi. Now Ruotolo. Genoa, who have the class to get goals. They have the teamwork to prevent others scoring, opposition scoring too detrimentally against them. And that's a recipe for doing well wherever you play football. And it's brought Genoa here the rare accolade of going into Europe. One hopes it's not going to be a rather tacky end to the season here, with the frustrations of Juventus spilling over and dragging Genoa into the fray as well. Surely there can't be too much more for Schillaci to get frustrated about. Having tasted the heights of success in the World Cup, it's been a pretty fruitless season for him. After that, a handful of goals only, and no reward as a team for Juventus. The Trapattoni will be back for next season, and they cannot wait for that to happen. But Genoa, quite rightly, take a bow here. Manfredi walks off the Juventus bench for the last time. A loser again, a loser to a goal perhaps that Juventus will be unhappy about, the first one, because they would have felt it wasn't a free kick in the first place, but Branco absolutely belted it past Tacconi. And the players go to Osvaldo Bagnoli, who gets the same treatment here as Vujadin Boskov did last Sunday. The second goal, it killed Juventus off, coming so soon after half-time, within 40 seconds of the restart. The statistics here, well, Juventus had their shots, but they weren't delivered with any real conviction. And it's finished Genoa 2. They are certain to be in the UEFA Cup next season. And Juventus, well, their chances very badly damaged by their defeat here, and they must wait for other results. The chase for UEFA Cup places was the main feature of the last day of the season. Torino in with a good chance at home to Atalanta, but the Brazilian Evair gave Torino's goalkeeper, Luca Marchegiani, a busy first half. Thoughtful play from Atalanta again here. Again it's Evair with the shot. Marchegiani coping once more. 0-0 into the second half. Lentini's cross causing Atalanta confusion, and goalkeeper Ferron just able to deal with the danger. Realistically, Atalanta playing out their season, but Pasciullo well forward here, and but for Marchegiani, Torino could have faltered. Here's Lentini again, linking up well with Martin Vasquez. It finished 0-0, a point which was enough to take last season's second division champions into next season's UEFA Cup. Great scenes in the closing moments. The new Stadio dell'Alpi, a happy home for Torino. They've remained unbeaten here, a key factor in their qualification for Europe. Milan now start a one-year European ban after their misbehaviour against Marseille. And in the San Siro Stadium, all eyes on Arrigo Sacchi, whose contribution as coach has been considerable, his departure imminent. Parma, amazingly in the shake-up for a UEFA Cup spot. They survive Filippo Galli hitting the frame of their goal. Gambaro galloping forward for Parma, whose success in their debut season at this level has been most praiseworthy. This was the game's best chance, but Marco van Basten didn't take it. Arrigo Sacchi developed his coaching skills at Parma before his great achievements with Milan. He won't have minded too much not winning. Thomas Brolin just over for Parma. 0-0 and a draw which gives European football a new name next season. Parma, most improbably, in the UEFA Cup. Inter are now the holders of that trophy. At Lecce, they were fresh from their 2-1 aggregate win over Roma in the final. Garzia's clearance off the line stopping Bianchi scoring for Inter. A good chance this for Lecce, but Ferri failing with his header. Lecce already relegated, of course. They fought proudly in the second half, and Senga did well to stop Morello opening the scoring. Then Benedetti's header, Stringara off the line, and Morello losing out to Zenga again. Lothar Matthäus with the Inter corner, Bergami's header, and Inter in front after 72 minutes. A premature pitch invasion caused a 7-minute stoppage, and when the game was restarted, Matthäus waltzed through for his 16th goal of the season. Inter finishing third in the table, their real satisfaction in that UEFA Cup. Well, what might Napoli have achieved if their recent stability had come earlier? Incocciati superbly through to Zola, an inspired goal for an informed side coming after just 3 minutes. And their reaction to losing Diego Maradona has been most positive. Silenzi close to a second here. And it duly arrived with still only 8 minutes gone. Kaseta steering in splendidly Zola's corner. Napoli's confidence so high that Incocciati almost recreated a Maradona-like moment. And he did score from slightly closer in. Napoli 3, Bologna 0, 7 minutes after half-time. It could have been more. Napoli finishing the season 8 games unbeaten since that Maradona suspension. Bologna's lament is that their number 10, Lajos Detari from Hungary, has been fit for only 15 league games. With 10 minutes to go, Detari cut the Napoli lead to 3-1. And then to 3-2 from the penalty spot. The last kick for Bologna in the first division for at least one season. But Napoli have much more to look forward to. Roma, the runners-up in the UEFA Cup, Pisa, another of the relegated quartet. Roma, with Desideri hitting the bar here, produced the best moments of a tame game. Salzano with another shy at the Pisa goal in the second half. Roma still have to play Sampdoria home and away in the Italian Cup final. And they rounded off their league season with a win. Their scorer, 19-year-old Roberto Muzzi, 19 minutes from time. Pisa 0, Roma 1. Fiorentina finished their programme with a flourish against another of the condemned clubs, Cesena. Diego Fuse's cross, the goal from Luboš Kubik. At one down, Silas, the Brazilian, sustained some Cesena optimism. This a fine save from Silas by Mereggini. Silas then split the defence for Zagatti, but Fiorentina survived. And from then on, they really ran the game, although Orlando was thwarted here. Fiorentina, though, firing on all cylinders in the second half. Dunga's free kick, and Busso meeting it, Cesena 2-0 down. Then Di Chiara, in what could be his last game for Fiorentina, added a third with 15 minutes to go. And still time for a fourth, Cesena capitulating to another header, this one from Marco Nappi. There was a festival feeling in Sardinia. Cagliari celebrating their most creditable recovery over the second half of the season. Fonseca setting up Francescoli for a first-half chance. The Cagliari Uruguayans have earned their keep. Bari able to relax. Soda trying to put some sparkle into their attack. And indeed, Bari went in front. Lupo's purposeful header past Yelpo. But in the first minute of the second half, another Cagliari comeback. Mobile hesitating, then recovering his nerve, 1-1. Cagliari could have won it from here, but Valentini didn't possess Mobile's accuracy. A last flurry from Francescoli. Only 2 wins in the first half of Cagliari's season, only 2 defeats in the second half. Well, we end with the champions and a marvellous match at Lazio. It started with a mistake by Lombardo, which was roundly punished by Franco Marchegiani. Sampdoria 1 down after just 30 seconds. And they went 2 behind 8 minutes later. Karl-Heinz Riedler fully rewarded for his initiative and for his persistence. So 2-0 to Lazio, and but for Pagliuca's fine save from Bertoni, the points would have been theirs. Then Roberto Mancini hit the Lazio bar, and Pietro Viercovod in the pack of players following up. Viercovod scores 2-1. Who's the blonde celebrating with him? Why, Gianluca Vialli, who's had his hair dyed to celebrate the championship. A push by Skloza on Kapanets, a penalty. Mancini scores, and that 2-goal deficit wiped out 7 minutes before half-time. A delightfully open game, Mancini just failing to send Sampdoria into the lead. Bertoni had a better chance for Lazio. Still 2-2 at half-time. Into the second half, Bregucci caught out, and Mancini taking his goal tally for the season to 12, a combination of cheek and class. Sampdoria in front after 48 minutes. But Lazio didn't lie down, and with 18 minutes left, Marchegiani, who'd scored the first goal, also had the final word. A hugely enjoyable game, a fine way to bring down the curtain on the 1990-1991 season. Sampdoria champions by 5 clear points, and after a day which could have brought any of 81 different permutations, the 3 clubs which have earned UEFA Cup places are Genoa, Torino and plucky little Parma. They join the holders Inter. Juventus miss out 7th, their lowest position for 29 years. Roma will be Italy's representative in the European Cup Winners' Cup. The 4 sides relegated confirmed last week. Goals today amongst the leading scorers for Lothar Matthäus and Thomas Scurabi. But Gianluca Vialli out on his own. Another honour to come Sampdoria's way, 19 goals in just 26 games. Vialli missed the opening 7 matches of the season with injury, following a very disappointing World Cup when he was expected to lead Italy's challenge. His partnership with Roberto Mancini came together again on November the 11th against Pisa. And after this, he never looked back.
This is Vialli going on. No flag, and he scored! The somersault of celebration from Gianluca Vialli.